So, hey, you guys, welcome to Modern Manhood Masterclass. If you're not familiar with us, we are a group that came together to pretty much produce the highest content that would allow you to live the best life, particularly for men. But if women are checking in, look, we welcome you as well, because that's just as vital and important to our livelihood as being men, because we can't do it all ourselves. So, our guest that we have today is Torriente, Dr. Damien's good friend. Man, he felt like this guy was someone that was just necessary that we had to bring on our platform. So without further ado, I want to introduce Torriente. Man, tell me about yourself. I know you're an author. I know you do things within self-defense. You have a business. You have an entrepreneur, and many amazing things. So tell me about yourself.
So I met Damon at college. We went to the same university, Langston University in Langston, Oklahoma. From there, I became a high school English teacher. I worked in Chicago in both the public school system as well as the alternative school system. For those of you who just may not know, the alternative school system for people who, for whatever reason, were not able to go through that 4-year program and had their graduation delayed or their plans delayed, they have an opportunity to still get their a traditional high school diploma before they time out, and the only other option would be a GED. So that's generally the population of the people that you'll be working with in the alternative school. Professionally, after doing that for several years, I switched into becoming on my own kickboxing and self-defense school, which was, I still have difficulty describing the process of building your own thing. So with that, I've been doing martial arts pretty much my whole life since I was single digits, around 7, and I was bouncing around from art to art. And I guess the most impactful thing is, at a certain point, I realized that mastering myself in martial arts wasn't enough, but actually having a practical skill that I can use in self-defense became the thing that I really wanted to focus on. So I can use kickboxing for people I have kickboxing and self-defense as my primary two classes or offerings. Kickboxing is generally for your fitness. Now, it's not just a cardio. We actually have the way that we teach it, it's more practical. So you're not just doing a combination, there's a purpose behind it. So you're still learning how a fighter thinks, why a fighter is doing what they're doing. You're just not actually fighting. But when some people who lack confidence or don't think I can do that, I'm not sure if I can, when they go through the kickboxing, they find their strength, they find their ability to use force. And it's not violence, it's not just I can throw my body into something and I can control it. Then sometimes because the way we teach, they're like, it's really great that you teach us how to do stuff and how to defend ourselves. And I'm like, that's not how in kickboxing, you're wrapping your hands, putting gloves on to protect your hand, because if you hit, you can hurt yourself. So maybe punching's not the best option. That's where the self-defense questions start to come up. And also the idea that just looking at the three of us, we do not have the same physique. We may not have the same level of aggression or physical or mental skills, but we all have to be effective. When we say no, or no has to be no. If someone grabs us and we need to get out of the grab, if we hit someone, we need to take them down. That's how we all have to be effective. So the way that we do it is going to be different. And that's where self-defense kind of gotten for me. So that would be the difference for me in the kickboxing realm versus self-defense, or the martial arts realm, which is more about perfecting the best version of yourself. That's martial arts.
Let's tap into it.
Is being able to protect that self, period. That's it.
So I want to talk about that because, go ahead, Dr. Damien.
I'm popping in, man. I mean, I know it. And I want to say that, like, looking from the outside in at this topic of self-defense, I know a lot of guys are thinking, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm strong, I'm big, I can handle myself. I've never been, I don't get attacked, or I can take care of mine. And that's why this is so important, because Torriente mentioned something, being able to protect your best self, right? And being able to build your best self is literally what modern manhood is about for us. And so when I hear that, and like, I'm going to share, like, Torriente's book, Everyday Self-Defense, just in the first chapter, where he makes it such an important point that self-defense, health, happiness, being able to be secure in yourself has so much more to do than your muscles, has so much more to do with that. I felt like we need to talk about this at the front of what we're doing here. So
absolutely.
Fundamentally, I believe self-defense is the only skill you need. And here's what I mean by that. If you're hungry and you don't have the ability to go to like I want Italian food, but there's the place that sells Italian is nowhere near you. If that is what makes you comfortable, is going to make you okay, then the next step is learn how to make Italian food yourself. That way you can stay comfortable and don't have to do, I don't have whatever. My fundamental belief in self-defense is anything that makes you uncomfortable is a self-defense situation, period. So if you feel like, I want to do something, but I feel like I can't, to be able to bridge that gap is you protecting, not just your defending your body, but protecting your peace of mind or your state of mind. So the same way is, hey, I'm hanging out with my kid, but my kid's able to do stuff and I can't keep up with them. Well, now I need to if that feeling is hurting you and making you feel uncomfortable, self-defense teaches you, well, what do you need to be able to do it? Either A, to avoid the situation, like, hey, I'm just not hanging out, we're not doing that anymore. B, you attack the situation. Okay, I need to do this to get my body in the shape so I can do whatever I want with my child. Or C, just acquiesce and like, oh, that's just that way it is.
Right.
But those three A's, avoid, address, or acquiesce, is pretty much all situations with conflict. Those are your three options. Some of them are not possible, and whatever's else, that's all you got.
Yeah, so it sounds like really empowering yourself to use your life force energy to create a desired result.
And I like what you're saying, empower yourself. I can't teach it, I can't give it to you because it's literally your representation of how you protect what you feel is right. So like the way that you express it is going to be different than the way I express it. The way that Dr. Damon expresses it is going to be different than the way his daughter is going to express it.
Yeah, so man, I was looking at something and I like the idea of you saying that is you seeing the symptoms and recognizing the symptoms for what they are, but doing something that can turn a negative into a positive. But I recently seen a study that said that 86% of people would rather die than to change their habits. I've seen something that said that more people that are working jobs they hate are more disconnected than ever before. And Pete, this is not even the thing that got me. There's more incentives that should inspire and motivate people to perform even better, but it doesn't work. And there's plenty of people that's waking up right now that say, man, I want to be healthy, but they will not change their diet. There's plenty of people that write New Year's resolutions that truly desire, but they don't follow through. So what is it about us that know what we should do, but don't want to do it?
If I can start, I can tell you this. There's a few stages in my business where I get a massive influx of people. And I think you already know where I'm going to say this is going to happen. So New Year's resolutions, also around the summertime where things change. And then like there's a few just key areas where people just come in. I think that there's two issues. One is a lot of people are looking for the one-to-one. Here's what I mean. I'm hungry. Here's a meal. I'm good now. That I can solve that problem with one thing, just one action, one moment, and it's solved. So when you're talking about lifestyle change, it's not one-to-one. It's a lot of things, or not. It's not just a one-time thing. It is a continuous effort, and you can be motivated to start, but it takes something else to continue. The second thing is, I'm saying this as a person on the outside and not in the field. I think that's more of an addiction thing. When you have been connected to doing something a specific way, and I don't mean addiction as in positive or negative, because I'm just talking about the idea of this is what you do and how you do it. This is how you lived your life. When you start to change some of those things, it's incredibly difficult because it's not the thing, it's what's connected to the thing. I'll give you a smaller example. There's some people who, when they're hitting mitts, they just gotta hit hard. Every punch has to be hard. And it's like, okay, can you slow down? It's like, okay, I slow down. boom, they do it again. It's just they love the sound, that hit, that force. They're just stuck on it. And it's just, okay, well, if I can I use the last part? Can the last punch be hit? I just gotta keep hitting. I cannot, if you're coming here and I'm not hitting hard, then it's not this, I don't want to do this. It's like, but you're learning everything. You're growing when you stop doing that one thing. But that one thing is connected to something else. I don't know what. I don't know exactly how. That's not my specialty. But
I do.
Yeah, that's your specialty. Yeah, Dr. Damon.
I'm going to cut you off. Finish that.
So that's what I mean by I was that person. I was that person. I like a 2 liter. I'm drinking a 2 liter like it's an 8-ounce cup. I'm not joking. That was it. I literally, a friend of ours, me and Dr. Damon, told me, hey, listen, you know what? You should like just lose weight. You can film it. You can sell. You have all these I was like, dude, if you gave me $1 million, I wouldn't do it. I would not. $1 million for me to change, I wouldn't do it. But here's what happened. It was last winter for Christmas. I saw this thing online about this mobility program, and I saw the way that they were moving. It's like, I want to move like that. I started working out more than I ever work out, and I'm a person who owns a gym. I own like a school where I am active every day. But because it wasn't just I want to be healthy. No, it's not just a desire. It was something else. Just like the way that they're moving is me. That is it. And I started doing that program. And even those times where I got off the program for weeks, 2 weeks, month, it's little pieces of it that I'm still doing every so often, or I'm telling someone else about it. It's still in me, because it wasn't just a one-time fix. Doing that, I was inspired in a way that got me started, but then there was a drive, something else that kept me in it. And the way I feel when I'm doing that movement program, there's no amount of money that can top it. The way I feel when I move and people look at me like, oh, can you show me that? Oh, that looked good. That there's no amount of money that can talk about. That is a different thing than just, okay, I'll get a salad today, or all right, fine, I'm gonna stretch. I don't want to do this. I am. It's not work for me. It's work, but it's not hurting me.
And that's a big point. Like you're that last
flow.
That's it. And like I want to bring that around, because you made such an important point that is kind of the basis of today's conversation, is that when we find what really feeds our soul on the inside, what really speaks to us, whether anybody else sees it or not, that is what drives us so much into being our better and best selves. And so it's not, we talk about habits, and that's what we're talking about, guys. When you mentioned, Torriente, the idea of addiction and the fact that there's something that's connecting it, absolutely. This is neuroscience, and this is what we study when we look at pain, we look at how the body responds. Your neurons in your brain, they connect to each other based on what your experience is. So if you've always experienced safety in eating this food when this is going on in your life, then your brain says, that's where I find safety, that's where I find happiness. If your brain connects the neurons and builds new connections between your brain cells every time you do this activity or exercise or spend time with this person, then that becomes where your brain and your body naturally goes, and it's almost out of your control. And so in that sense, what you've talked about, it is. What you talked about, Torriente, is building new brain connections between those brain cells and finding that, oh, this piqued my interest. Now I'm connecting the comfort that I have with my body with the experience that I have with this activity, and also with the social aspect of what really comes when I engage with other people about this. That's how we really build beyond motivation. So you're in there, man.
I have two things. One, when I was a high school English teacher, there was a moment where a lot of my students would, I hate the term, the ebonics, the whatever, the idea of when you can hear that they are not speaking in whatever the idea of standard English is supposed to be, whatever slang that is. And what caught me, I'm not sure exactly how I learned it, but it got to me where when teachers were correcting students, and I remember a student saying something like, my mama talk like that, my grandma talk like, when we're saying that they're wrong, we're saying that their grandparents and their mothers and their parents, the way that the people that they may care about, that they love.
Yes.
And now that correction is like, nah, I get you, like I'm ready to fight.
That's assault.
Yes. But I just want to talk about the idea of how things are connected. When I'm teaching, there's something about instincts. There's some instincts that you have that they're hardwired from your experience. They're hardwired from gene. There's some things that you have that are just instinctual. But there is also training versus instincts. Here's instincts. If you're falling, you tilt a baby, even if they're high up, they will reach their hand out to try to stop the fall. Your hand will not stop a fall. It's not going, if you're falling, your hand is not helping you. That's not it. But if you're really close to the ground and you're tipping, your hand can be amazing in helping support you and adjust how you're falling. I mean, how you're moving. So there's people who their instincts, although your instincts can save you, you touch a hot stove, you gain back, you're fine. But if you're cooking, you got some hot grease on a pan and something pops on you, you jerk that, that's bad. Bee flies near you, you're like, oh, wave it away. You got a baby in your hand, a bee flies, you can't do the same actions. Your instincts, those things that are just quick that you want to do, don't work in some more complex or just different circumstances. And the idea is that's where training comes in. We're trying to, and I want people to be informed. You decide how you would like to retrain. If you have an instinct that you're like, I don't want to lose this instinct, then that's your choice. But if you're like, I don't like that feeling when this happens and this is how I react to it, well, then now we can start training. That's where the comfort food, I'm not feeling it. Where's my 2-liter? When I know when I find myself like seeing like a bunch of like an army of empty bottles near me, I'm like, okay, let's stop.
Listen, man, I gotta say that for anybody who's watching this, whether you're watching it live, let us know. Show us a comment. Tell us if anything is reverberating with you. But if you're watching this in the recording as well, you need to know that the things that he's saying right now, these are life lessons. This is beyond just getting in a ring. This is beyond getting, defending yourself against an attack. Like, these are life lessons, which is why it's so important that we take on those lessons and really understand that when it comes to owning up to what it is you want, that's on you to do the training. When it comes to finding yourself uncomfortable in your life or in situations, that's on you to do what you need to do for it to change. I hope y'all go back and watch this again and really see some of that. All right, look, so time is running short, but I listened to a presentation that Torriente did the other day, and he told this story, and he taught us how to avoid a kangaroo attack. And I need you to share that, bro, because man, I want you to really finish up with showing us how we avoid a kangaroo attack and really bring this home for us.
All right, this is definitely I didn't create it. I want to make sure I give credit. It's Rory Miller, who's a self-defense expert, but he said pretty much 3 ways to avoid a kangaroo attack. The first thing is you see them smile. They're not actually smiling, they're showing their teeth. The second thing they'll do is they'll check their pouch because they don't want to have their baby with them when they're fighting. The third thing that they'll do is you'll see them check behind them because they want to make sure after an attack that they're able to escape. If you can spot those 3 things, then you will be able to avoid a kangaroo attack. Everything I just told you is a lie. But for the briefest of moments, you thought you had some valuable information that you could use. It's like, hey, I know something. I'm ready. If I was in the outback and I see one, I'm like, hey, if I see the teeth, I'm ready to go. This is the problem with misinformation. You will have confidence, but you will not have the right information, which means you're not actually equipped to be effective in that situation. in self-defense is situations where people are talking about, hey, you just have your keys in your hand and you can do stuff. A key is not a good cutting tool. If you don't believe me, use it to open up your next Amazon package. A key is not a good impact instrument. If you don't believe me, it bends when you're just turning it. And honestly, a lot of them aren't even metal, but we'll talk about that later. It's not a real tool for self-defense. And most keys, if you look in your keys right now, just go and look at them. How many keys they're really small. And a lot of people just have a lot of fobs now. So you're only getting this much, just a little bit of reach on it. You'd actually do better with just your hands. Now, if I needed to save myself, yes, I could use a dry erase marker to save myself. But you do not want to bet your life and just say, hey, if you could have a tool designed for self-defense or keys, which one would you go for? That's the myth. When you're hearing someone say, hey, the keys are awesome, that's talismanism. You feel powerful by holding the keys, thinking something, you can do something. But have you ever actually used it? Have you felt actually trying to defend yourself, even if against a friend or someone you trust, and just see what it's like? If you've never done it, it's not the same. If I may ask real quick, one more situation like this. I was a lifeguard, and this lady wanted to go off the diving board, and I can clearly see she can't swim. She just can't. I told her, hey, lady, don't do it. She goes back. One of her friends just tells her, hey, you just move like this and you fly right up to the top. I'm like, don't listen to her. Don't listen to her. She runs off. I'm see her. I'm like, please. She just runs off and she drowns. Now, yes, I save her. She doesn't die. I save her, but she goes down. There's some kids around. She is dry. She's drowning. She is not only hurt herself, but she's potentially hurting like 3 or 4 other people around her. But she got her information from someone. Someone just said that, hey, is she that's my job. I am a professional swimmer. I am a professional when it comes to helping people, like, to be able to understand water safety. Yes, I am. I'm a kid. I'm somewhere between 18 years old or so. But for that job, I'm the pro. I'm the expert. She got her information from someone who said, just do this. That's what I mean. We want to learn how to spot the myths, and we need people we need to get our information from good sources. We need to find ways to test that information, and we need to know it for ourselves, not just take it at face value. That's
that's a life lesson right there.
So we're taught to view authority as truth rather than truth as authority.
Say that again, please.
We're taught to see authority as truth instead of truth as authority.
Can I steal that?
Listen, guys. So we already know the 3 of us can go on for hours and hours, and I think this is not the last conversation we're going to have, because there are so many life lessons that we can take from what Torriente shares, from his philosophies, from his book, and how he talks about how important it is that we're right up here, we're strong up here, and that what happens after that, after those thoughts become manifested in your body, is where your real power is, and that's not just for men. Not just for women, but that's for everybody. So that's why this is so important to us. We're going to wrap this up. Donelle, I want you to take us home, talk about what we're doing, what's coming up with our Modern Manhood group, talk about what's coming up with our next masterclass. Take us home, bro.
Just in a nutshell, I like what Torriente is talking about, but listen, y'all, you guys know we have a masterclass that's going on to help you become the best version of yourself. And this, pretty much what you're saying, encompasses all of it. In a nutshell, in order to be your best version of yourself, you need a new frame of reference. That means there's some things that you have to let go, but you have to understand that you have your own journey that's going to get you there. So we have put together a plan, a group, and just a curriculum that allow you to be able to achieve some of these things that most people feel like it's impossible. We have created just the formula to get it done. And so I hope you guys enjoyed Torriente. I feel like it was absolutely phenomenal. Bro, so thank you for taking out your time and sharing these gifts. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the space that you guys have. This is awesome.
Thank you. You guys join us. We'll be in the man cave. If you're not already in there, check us out at in the man cave, man. Yeah. So check us out. You can go to our website at manhoodmasterclass.com. You'll find a link to join our man cave, which is our Facebook group where we have discussions like this all the time, where we talk about what really is at the center of being our best selves, and we're pushing each other forward to do that. Check out. We've got another masterclass group coming up this Sunday at 5 o'clock Central. So from 5 to 8, this is a 3-hour experience, yo. It is virtual, so you can join us from anywhere. But if you're ready to jump in there, then we need you to let us know ASAP so that we can get you the right information so you can get your playbook and jump in there. But guys, this has been awesome. Keep talking, keep sharing, keep uplifting each other, and let's go out there and be our best selves.
Let's go.